anything happen to you?
Yeah, boy.
What happened?
Come on, all I mean, let's figure it out. We gotta go. We gotta start moving.
Paria Akariakut was a state-operated oil company working at the Pointe-à-Pierre port in Trinidad and Tobago. In a facility they had taken over years earlier, there was a long U-shaped oil pipeline that had not been used for 4 years. To repair the pipe and make it operational again, the company made an agreement with a firm called LMC and assigned 5 professional divers. None of them knew the disaster that awaited them. 2 weeks before the repair, both ends of the pipe had been sealed with special plugs to prevent any water or air from entering. To make it easier for the divers to work, a large metal air chamber was placed at the offshore end of the pipe. When air was pumped in, the chamber turned into an almost dry workspace. On February 25, 2022, the divers completed their preparations and entered the water. Their first task was to remove the plug sealing the end of the pipe. But things did not go as planned. A wrench was needed to open the plug. The wrench was brought, the valve was opened, and at that moment, the plug suddenly gave way. The air trapped inside had created such a pressure difference that, along with the incoming water, all 5 divers were sucked into the pipe at terrifying speed. Before they could understand what was happening, they found themselves in total darkness. The pipeline wasn't straight. There were pockets where air had accumulated. Miraculously, the divers managed to stop in one of these pockets. They were injured, the space to breathe was extremely limited, and it was completely dark. But at least they were alive. They called out to each other. Everyone was still alive.
Right behind you, man. You don't know when to come up. It's not going up.
Come on, all I mean, let's figure it out. We gotta go. We gotta start moving.
Yeah. Where you at?
I don't know, I'm trying to come up. Trying to come up. Who's that boy there? Can't do you.
Right there.
Right there, where? Can't everything alright with you?
No.
Any items break?
All in
Alright.
They didn't know how far they had been pulled in, but the only way out was to go back the way they came. Holding onto each other like a human chain, they began to crawl. At one point, they found 2 oxygen tanks that belonged to them. It was nothing short of a miracle. Using their air sparingly, they continued forward. After about an hour, the water level had risen and breathing had become nearly impossible. In that situation, it was impossible for 5 people to continue with only 2 tanks. Christopher, who was at the front, had to go on alone to find help, even though his friends begged him not to leave. He told them, "If I can get out, I'll save you," and separated from the group. Christopher kept moving through the darkness. Just as his oxygen was about to run out, he found another tank. With one last effort, he reached the vertical section of the pipe, but he was exhausted. By chance, he grabbed onto a chain hanging from above and tried to make noise so someone would hear him. 20 minutes later, rescue divers found him. When he was brought up, it was 5:30 p.m. Christopher immediately told the authorities that the 4 divers inside were still alive. Unfortunately, the company did not believe him. They refused to authorize an emergency rescue operation, saying they must already be dead. Hours passed. Families waited, dive teams insisted, but the company would not take action. The divers were submerged in water the entire time. When rescue divers struck the pipe during the night, there were still responses from inside. All 4 were still alive. But no one went in, because the company would not allow it. As time passed, the remaining divers inside had less and less air. Carbon dioxide levels rose, and breathing became increasingly difficult. The 4 divers died there, drowning as they waited for help. When their bodies were recovered days later, it was revealed that all of them had survived for many hours, and some even longer. The investigation found that the company had committed severe negligence, had no proper rescue plan, and had abandoned the divers to their fate. Christopher still lives, knowing that his friends could have been saved. Meanwhile, the families of the divers continue to wait for justice.
And I saw the water just start to rise. So I say, yo, this thing filling up. Let me get out of here. And all I remember doing is holding on to the platform inside the habitat. It was just like a hard suction force pulling. I can't remember getting sucked in the pipe. I remember getting hurled through the pipe, unbelievable speeds. It's only when I reach the elbow of the pipe and I feel that scoopy feeling coming up and I realize, wait, this is the pipe. I start to wedge my body as much as I can to stop myself from being propelled further into it. Out of oxygen, I was frightened too. Your muscles start to contract, trying to force you to open your mouth to breathe, and you're fighting against that. I just feel like the water stopped, and I just get I couldn't hold the urge to breathe anymore, and I just catch my and I made some very, very deep breaths. I catch my breath, I catch my breath now.